That was so shocking to me. I was like, wait a minute, what? Hey double majors, welcome back to my channel. What's poppin', what's poppin', what's poppington? If you're new here, welcome. My name is Brelynn. I'm a 28-year-old post-grad pre-med studying for the MCAT, and in today's video we're going to be talking about how I am switching up my MCAT study plan. I have been studying for the past 3 weeks. I started in the beginning of January and I have been documenting my journey here on YouTube. So if you want to follow along with me, make sure you are subscribed to the channel, ring the bell that way you don't miss notification from me, and follow me on my social media at Brelynn.hunt. Without further ado, I'm going to do a quick little update to kind of fill you guys in on all the ways that I am switching up my MCAT plan. So this all started off about 2.5 weeks ago. I ended up getting a letter of regret or rejection letter from a medical school. As you guys know, because I am studying for the MCAT now and planning to reapply next cycle, I'm not taking too many of these rejections to heart. I'm not gonna lie, everyone still does kind of, sting a little bit, but it is what it is. So I read through the rejection email, and at the bottom of it, it says, we're not able to give you any advisement at this time. If you need any advisement or to know what to do differently, if you want to apply again next time, you need to reach out to the advisor at your school. If you don't have an advisor at your school, if you don't know how to get in contact with them, check them out on this website. This type of we don't do advisement statement isn't new for medical schools. I think it is very, very cool, but it's not new. A lot of them do have it at the end of their rejection letters to basically say, don't call us, don't ask for me to tell you what you did wrong with your application, figure it out, and when you do, apply again next year. But I never saw anybody leave a link to where to find your advisor. If you guys don't know, I'm a proud Spelman College alumna. I graduated from Spelman College in 2018 with a bachelor's in biology. Although I was a biology major on the pre-med track in undergrad, I honestly didn't receive a lot of support. I actually haven't received much of any support from the Spelman advisor community in my journey applying to medical school. It's mainly based off of my experience when I was in undergrad. My academics weren't strong, and so I feel like the advisors, we all have heard of the advisor horror stories. I feel like, are there ever any good advisors who actually speak life into their students, their pre-med, their pre-nursing, their pre-PA students, and tell them you can do this even if you are first gen, even if your GPA doesn't look great, even if your MCAT score wasn't good the first time? I feel like I've only heard horror stories of people saying, my advisor told me that I could never get into medical school and you should try a different path, and that was definitely the case for me. So what did I do? I stopped going to my advisor. I stopped talking to my advisor about my pre-medical plans, and I tried to figure it out myself, which is one of the reasons why my trajectory has been so all over the place. Because you hear, okay, you don't have a good MCAT score after undergrad, then you should take some gap years, and then you should do a master's program or a post-bac, and maybe you should do a special master's program, or you should do one that is connected to you hear all these things, but you're not actually receiving any advisement. You're getting your advisement from, I don't know, pre-med YouTubers, Reddit, and your friends who are also in the same position as you, which is why I ended up going to NC State University to get my master's in physiology. We've had this whole conversation before. I'm going off on a tangent. The point is, I don't have a super close relationship with the advisors at Spelman. I have been able to kind of get it out the mud and get everything that I needed for my application on my own. I have letters of recommenders from places where I've worked at, places that I volunteered at, and my 2 master's programs. But I don't know, I was a little bit curious, so I clicked on the link and I typed in Spelman, and I was like, oh, these 2 names that I see as the Spelman advisors for pre-meds don't look familiar to me. I actually don't know these women. Maybe they're new to the role. Maybe they've added new people to the pre-med or the health careers program at Spelman. So I send them an email and I'm like, hey, I'm Brelynn. I'm a post-grad pre-med, graduated 2018. What are some of the resources that you guys are able to provide Spelman graduates who are looking to matriculate into medical school? I ended up getting an email from literally my Spelman sister, who is now one of the advisors, but she graduated in 2018. She was like, first of all, hey girl, you don't have a Spelman alumni email. You need to sign up for one, because every time you're sending an email to us here at Spelman, it's going into our spam. And I was like, oh, I didn't even know I could do that. Thank you, sis. And 2, she was like, we can set up a meeting and we can go over all of the different things they can offer me as a pre-med Spelman grad. Okay, so I'm going to try and rapid fire go over everything that I learned during this Spelman advisor meeting. The first thing is that all Spelman Spelman students get free Kaplan access to study for the MCAT for an entire year. And if you have graduated from Spelman, you also get free access to Kaplan. That was so shocking to me. I was like, wait a minute, what? Like, what? So, as you guys know, I've been trying to do this MCAT studying process as cheaply as possible, to say it bluntly, because it's a very expensive process. So far, I've only purchased a UWorld access, and I've been using the free Khan Academy videos, Jack Weston, and honestly UWorld. Although it's been helpful having a slew of practice problems, it has been very difficult and confusing kind of keeping track of my MCAT schedule, because there's nothing to show me, okay, I need to go through these 5 topics in this day, and then I'll be on time to finish all of these topics by the end. And I felt like I was having trouble going back and forth between doing content review and doing practice problems, and doing practice problems but not doing well, so then doing content review but not wanting to do content review because I'm supposed to be doing practice problems. And I was just like, I feel like I'm not using my time wisely, and I don't really have time to waste. And one thing that I loved about using Kaplan, the last time I studied for the MCAT, I did study with Kaplan through my master's program at Meharry Medical College. And so I was familiar with Kaplan, and I honestly really enjoyed it because it gave you a schedule where you could see, okay, if you say that you're going to study for 7 hours, 6 days a week, these are the different modules that you need to do on Monday, on Tuesday, on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then you'll have Sunday off. And if you complete all of these things, then you're done for the day. And if you continuously do all of these different things, then they will have in there not only the Kaplan materials, their content refreshers, their practice problems, they will also include the AAMC materials in there, because the Kaplan MCAT prep course also includes AAMC materials. So I know I've mentioned before about how amazing it is that I now have access to the AAMC materials, and I don't know if I've explained why that's so important. So the AAMC, they are the test makers, and they have a variety of tests like practice materials that are available to pre-med students at a cost. So you can either pay for the individual exams, you can pay for sections, you can pay for different ways to practice at a price, like I said, all together as bundles or individually. But if you have the fee assistance program, then you can get all of the AAMC materials for free. And now, more recently, if you have the fee assistance program, now each year you can regain access to these materials. So some of the things that are included in the AAMC resources are AAMC section banks. This has 3 sections, one for Chem Phys, one for Biochem, and one for Psych Soc. As it sounds, each of these section banks has passages that are directly targeted to either biology and biochemistry, chemistry and physics, or psychology and sociology. And it'll help you really be able to practice what completing one of those sections from the AAMC will look like. Like I mentioned, those are kind of like for the 3 science sections of the MCAT. They also have a CARS question bank. Those have CARS passages, which are the critical analysis and reasoning section of the MCAT. They have passages and questions that are pulled from the old AAMC exams. So previous exams from the test makers that strongly resemble the passages and questions that you will see on test day. Oh, you know what? And I'm glad I'm reading this, because previously it looks like the set of questions was called the AAMC online flashcards, and I was looking for that. I was like, I thought the AAMC had flashcards, but yeah, this makes more sense. The formatting is more of a question bank than a flashcard set, similar to the question pack. So this tool can be used for additional subject-specific practice and review. So as you can imagine, those are a lot of resources, and so it makes a lot of sense why it kind of cost around $300 or so. It's literally heaven sent. My only gripe with using Kaplan last time was the fact that I was studying for 6 weeks, and I was like, dang, I wish I would have had this when I was studying for 6 months, or even just like 3 months. I wish I just had more time, because when you're only studying for 6 weeks, the amount of modules that you have to do every single day are almost impossible to get through. So now you have 8 things on Tuesday, but then you only get through 5, so now, you know what I'm saying? Then things just keep getting pushed over and pushed over. And ultimately, I don't think I completed all of my modules before I took my exam when I studied for it in 2023. But now, because I talked to my advisors, I have a chance to start over again, and getting my Spelman alumni email, I was able to get access to Kaplan, start over, and recreate an MCAT study schedule. I also want to mention about how God is looking out for me, because around the same time, news came out that now, every year that you apply for the fee assistance program, you can also have access to the AAMC materials. Again, if you guys watch one of my other vlogs, I was like, oh my gosh, I've already used my AAMC materials. The last time I studied for the MCAT, and I was gonna have to pay for them again. So I was kind of just waiting because I didn't want to pay that money right off bat. I knew I was gonna use my AAMC materials in the beginning of my studying, and glory be to God, I literally have access to them now, not only through Kaplan, but even if that didn't work out, I would have got access through it again when I reapplied for the fee assistance program. So honestly, I'm just really happy that things are just working out for me, and now I have access to these study materials free of charge. So that is the first big update. The other things that we talked about during the advisor meeting was that Spelman has created a lot of different like pipeline and connections with different medical schools. And although I'm not an undergrad, so I'm not able to say, oh, well, you don't have to take the MCAT, and if you get a 3.5 at junior year, but because they do have these relationships with medical schools, they're like, we should just talk about your medical school list, because maybe you wouldn't have considered this medical school before, maybe they wouldn't have considered you, but if you come about it as a Spelman student, you may have a better chance because we have a connection with them. So it's nice to kind of know that maybe I do have more of an in on these medical schools other than just Meharry Medical College, where I went for my master's program. Also along those lines, something that I never even thought of in all of my years of being a post-grad pre-med is going back to my undergraduate institution and asking them for a committee. So I'm about to work on all the materials that I need to obtain a committee letter from Spelman. It's very interesting because I didn't even think about reaching out to them for a committee letter in all of my years of being an alumni and all of my times applying to medical school. I felt like Spelman wasn't helpful getting me into medical school, and that they wouldn't be helpful because of my experience as an undergrad. So I just chalked it up to I gotta get out the mud by myself. Also remember how difficult it was for me to gather all of the materials that I needed to even like pitch myself to obtain a committee letter, because they don't just give one to everyone, which I can understand why they do that, but you just have to understand how discouraging it is when you come in as a biology major, as a pre-med, knowing for sure that you want to apply to medical school. The grades don't go how you want them to. You don't get what you expected to on the MCAT. You're struggling to even write a personal statement. You don't have anybody to really guide you into what you're supposed to do next, and you ask your school if they will write you a committee letter and they say no. You can imagine why I didn't apply to medical school right out of Spelman. I did not feel supported at all. To now be at this position 6 years post-grad and to have everything that they're asking for easily. I'm like, oh yeah, I already have literally 6 letters of recommenders, and they will happily and strongly give you a letter of recommendation on my behalf. I have a personal statement that has been through the ringer many, many times, and that I believe is strong. I think it's a good personal statement. It's very interesting to think about how far I am from that version of a pre-med student, but also how disappointing it is that I had to get all of these things on my own. And now I'm just like, oh, do y'all mind like putting your name, stamping your name on this? But I was talking to a friend the other day, and we were talking about how there's kind of like 3 main college experiences that we would want to have. One of them is going to an Ivy League, the other one is going to an HBCU, and the other one is going to like a really big state school, but like as a D1 athlete. I think that those are like the 3 top tier college experiences. Nothing wrong if that wasn't your college experience, but if I had to do college differently, I would want it to be in one of those scenarios. And so one of the main reasons why I chose Spelman was for the name, was for the legacy that was attached to it, for the doors that it could open. And honestly, I don't feel like Spelman has opened many doors for me post-grad. I won't say that. I definitely seen some favor being a Spelman alum, and even just sometimes being in a room and introducing yourself to people. There is like this expectation of greatness that's already expected from you being a Spelman alum, which is not too much pressure. It's definitely it's what I wanted, it's what I signed up for, it's what I paid all that money for. But I haven't seen the fruits of that investment when it comes to this medical journey. So I'm glad to finally say, you know what, yeah, go ahead and use that Spelman favoritism, that Spelman legacy for this medical journey, because clearly I can take all the help I can get. Let's look at all the things that we need to obtain a committee letter from Spelman College. Congratulations on getting to this point of your journey. The committee letter is authored by a pre-health committee or pre-health advisor. It provides an overall summary of you as an applicant, describing your academic preparedness, your scholarly activities, community service, leadership skills, and clinical exposures. The letter will also include additional letters written in support of your application. This is sometimes called a composite letter. Basically, Specifically, when I talked to my advisor, she recommended that I go through this process of obtaining a committee letter for my next medical school application, just because it will ensure that I would have a comprehensive letter that speaks to my competitiveness and my unique experience at an institution like Spelman. Like, there is a 5-step process. Number 1, make the decision to obtain a committee letter and identify 3 to 5 recommenders. Okay, 3 to 5. Like I said, I have 6. Figure out who I'm going to drop from that list. Complete the Health Council applicants form needed to start the process. The crazy thing is that I met with my advisor on Wednesday, and she was like, this is actually perfect timing because it's due on Saturday. She kind of gave me a little bit of a window. She's like, you know, turn it on Saturday, but you know, around that time. And I was like, wow, that's so crazy, because I've been so focused on the MCAT, and of course I'm thinking about the different ways that I'm going to, you know, switch up my application for the next time, but I definitely wasn't thinking about committee letters. I'm glad that I met with her and that she brought this up, because I do think it's going to add an even extra special touch to my application that I haven't been able to get with the letters that I currently have, even though they are strong. So the main thing about this committee letter is that it is contingent on a certain MCAT score. I believe that's what happened last time. You have to have a certain GPA and a certain MCAT score and a certain number of recommenders who are willing to write your recommendations. I definitely had a hard time getting people to write my letters of recommendations in college, even though I felt like I had relationships with professors. I don't know, I feel like there was just so many people who wanted letters that they were a little bit more stingy about who they would write letters for. Like I said, I've come a long way, but what I was getting to was that I believe if you score lower than a 500, they won't write you a committee letter. It'll be kind of like a cover page over top of your other recommendations. Let me get the information for the recommenders and we'll see what the next step is. I still have to wait for my MCAT score to know whether or not they will send it as an official committee letter if they accept me, or if they will send it as a letter packet. Again, I didn't even know the difference between these two things. I think that they're both great and will both be helpful, but definitely the committee letter will hold more weight than the letter packet. Of course, we won't know for sure how much this will impact my next application, but I think this is really good news, and I'm going to hold on to this hope that maybe, again, all these different little changes will be the thing that makes the difference for me finally getting accepted into medical school next cycle. I feel like I'm really yapping. Let's hurry up and get through all of these updates. Okay, the next thing I want to talk about is kind of how it's been studying with Kaplan. I've studied for Kaplan for a full week now, and I'm starting to get overwhelmed, because let me work through it timeline wise. I was studying for about a week and a half. I had a meeting with my Spelman advisor, then I was waiting to get my email and then my access to Kaplan. So for another about half a week, I knew about the Kaplan access, but I didn't have access to Kaplan access. I didn't want to pay for a full-length exam from another third-party source, and so I procrastinated taking my first full-length practice exam. Because of that, I studied for 3 full weeks before taking my first official practice exam, which I vlogged. It'll be the next video. We'll save all that drama for then. The point is that there was about 4 days where I was now studying with my Kaplan access, and I was trying to figure out, okay, what have I already studied the past 2 weeks using Khan Academy and UWorld. Kaplan has this really cool thing. 3 things that I really love about Kaplan are: 1, they are separated by the chapters that go along with the book. So it's very easy to say chapter 1, amino acids, chapter 2, carbohydrate. I was having a hard time splitting up how to study all the different topics equally throughout my day. I would go a whole day only doing biochemistry, and then do a whole day kind of doing physics and getting stuck and being frustrated, and then wanting to go and do a psychology day. That way I can kind of like loosen things up and feel like I was making progress. But on those days, I was going a full day without looking at my biochemistry thing. Those days I was going a full day without looking at my physics things, and on those days I was going a full day without looking at my chemistry things. So I didn't feel like I was doing a good job studying in a very well-rounded way. But I love that Kaplan splits it up to where you do a little bit of each topic every day. And so the third thing that I love about Kaplan is that they will have a practice exam before each module. So it'll say chapter 1, amino acids. Here are 5 to 12 questions about amino acid. If you score above a 70, or I believe a 75, then you score out of that topic, and you don't have to watch the modules and read the textbook about it. You just move on to the next topic. So I'm thinking, okay, I just studied amino acids last week. I watched all of the Khan Academy videos. I did practice problems. I did Anki cards on it. I should easily be able to get a 70% on the pre-quiz and move on to the next topic. Do you think that's what happened? No. I won't lie, you guys, this is like the first time I feel like I've actually been able to ace out of a section. So I just took a practice quiz on cell structure placement, and I had just been studying that when I was doing my Kaplan review. And if I didn't get at least, well, I told myself a 75. This is still not okay, but I mean, I guess it's better than a 0%. And I know that sounds dramatic, but yes, I've literally taken a few of these like pre-practice exams of content that I had just studied a week before and gotten a 0. I'm like, but I studied this. Like, it's one thing if it's like, oh yeah, I haven't looked at this in a couple of years. Like, of course I don't know it. I literally studied this last week. I don't know what it is, but it's been a little bit stressful because I don't want to repeat all of the information that I just worked hard to learn the past 2 weeks. But also, if I don't have it mastered, if I don't know it, then I do need to review it. So I'm happy to see, at least for this one section, what I learned is good enough. I had a strong performance. It says if I have extra time later, I can still work on the assignments that I tested out of, but I can use my time more productively. Good news is that we can move forward to chemistry. Bad news is that we have to move forward to chemistry. I was starting to freak out because every single topic that I studied, I couldn't pass the pre-quiz, which means I was having to relearn, which felt like the last 2 weeks of studying was for nothing. Not for nothing, but it felt like I didn't actually make any progress. And so if I had 10 weeks to study, it felt like instead of 10 weeks, I actually have 8 weeks, because the first 2 weeks was just a warm up and I'm just familiarizing myself with the information, but again, not actually mastering the information. This wasn't technically true for all of the areas that I was studying, but it was true for a lot of them, and it was really freaking me out. So I'm really happy that I have the Kaplan materials now, but I do feel like I'm starting my studying from the beginning. And on top of that, I know that I'm not supposed to be doing content review, but Kaplan has these things called content refreshers, where after you fail a pre-quiz, you kind of have to refresh yourself on the content. And a lot of this stuff, like I said, it looks familiar to me, but when it comes to putting the information that you know into practice, I'm like, I don't remember the nitty-gritty detail in order to apply this information and get the questions correct. I'm happy that there are a better split of sections, and I'm still using UWorld and Anki, but I do feel like I'm doing a little bit of content review through the Kaplan's content refreshers in order, again, like I said, to kind of teach myself what I don't know in order for me to do the questions and then practice the questions and practice the questions and practice the question. I just hope I'm doing this right. I know everybody keeps telling me do not do content review. For right now, I'm just trying to follow the Kaplan plan, doing the practice questions beforehand, doing the content refreshers, and then doing the practice questions afterwards, getting all the questions I'm getting wrong in my Anki, and then afterwards doing more practice questions through UWorld. I'm trying not to freak myself out because I really don't want to waste time doing it the wrong way. And so I hope that this is the right way to do it. And that same line of thought of being a little bit overwhelmed and kind of scared that I possibly wasted weeks of studying, I'm kind of nervous about the exam date that I set for myself. I mentioned before, but I want to take it before the end of March. But my MCAT date is not set because I am on waiting list for the waiting list to book an MCAT date. And when you get those emails that you're off the waiting list, you literally have to move so fast. Uh-oh, y'all, it's getting real. I just woke up, was checking my emails, and I got the email. My test date is open, and it's so surprising because literally I've only been able to get on the waiting list for one location for my ideal test date. And even the other test dates that I wasn't interested in, I tried to get on the wait list for them as well, and I also couldn't get on their wait list. So I literally was just leaving it up to God. I knew that if I just waited, then eventually the date would come up. Even though this is something that I want, I can't lie, it also makes me really nervous because now I'm like, oh my gosh, like I'm gonna officially have an exam date. It feels different because the last time before that, I pushed back my exam, I think 3 or 4 times. Or at least I moved it. I think one time I ended up moving it forward because I was like, I just want to be done. And then I was like, okay, girl, you tripping. And then I moved it back. But I don't know, it's something so strange about having a test date, like knowing that you have to take it on a certain day and knowing that you can change it at any time if you want to, if you don't feel ready, versus not being able to change it. And this time I technically could change it if I don't feel ready, but I really don't want to change my date. But I feel like it's one of those things where you're always going to be nervous and you'll quote unquote never feel ready. I don't know, the MCAT exam costs $345. I do have the fee assistance program, so I get a discount on my MCAT, and that is $205. So I will pay $140 today to schedule my exam. I'm so nervous. I'm so nervous. Okay. My appointment is no longer available. Somebody got it before me. All of this for nothing? Why would it even let me put in that information? That's so annoying. Okay, well, maybe I'm not getting my exam test date today. I don't know if a test spot is going to open up on the day that I want, in an area that I want, or if it's going to be the day that I want and I'm going to have to travel somewhere, or I'm going to have to travel somewhere and it's not going to be on the day that I want, or I don't really know. Right now I'm on the waiting list to book an MCAT exam for places all throughout the DMV, Delaware, Pennsylvania, and North Carolina. I really don't want to travel, but if I have to, I have to. And I'm also on the waiting list for all of the DMV test centers from literally March 21st all the way up until I think like May 1st. I really don't want to study until May, but honestly, I can kind of see some benefits to studying until May, because I feel like if I just took my time, I wouldn't be stressed out about the time. But I also like don't want to be in the season forever because it's hard. Y'all, like, let's just talk about how hard it is to study every day. And you take these practice exams and you feel like you know something, and then you get a bad score on it, and it's like the worst part that nobody talks about studying the practice test method is that you are constantly failing throughout the day. Like you wake up in the morning, you take a practice exam, you fail. You study a little bit of information, you fail. You study the information, you fail. You may do a little bit better, you get a 70%, and then you take another one and then you fail. And it's like, yay, you're done for the day. You did a success. Like, it doesn't feel like you are, sorry about that. It doesn't feel like you are successfully studying because you are constantly receiving failure back to back to back. But again, I'm trying to trust the process and continue studying in this way. But it does make me feel kind of like, I don't know if I'm going to be ready by March 21st. And if I'm not, then I don't want to feel pressure, like I said, to take the test if I know that I'm not ready, because we're trying to learn from our previous lessons. And previously, we took the test before we were ready. So now I don't want to take the test unless I know that I feel ready. Okay, a few other small things that I'm changing in my MCAT study plan is I have officially decided that I will be studying here in my apartment. Like you guys mentioned, I'm literally paying rent for these amenities. So why would I not study here at home? I have a great place upstairs that I can go to. It is easy to access. It's cold outside. I'm paying technically, that's like a library that I'm paying for. So I just go upstairs every day around 10 a.m. I start studying. That's after I do my workout and my devotion and breakfast and all the things in the morning time. If I eat lunch, I come downstairs, eat for 30 minutes maximum, because you get 30 minutes for lunch during the MCAT, and then I continue studying at my desk here in my living room. Thank you all so much for your advice and your input. But yes, I will be utilizing the co-working spaces in my apartment to continue studying. A moment to talk about things that have been going according to plan. Pilates. You guys know it's been a big goal of mine to become a Pilates hottie this year. It has been going well. I have officially done my first 10 classes. It's nice because you can see a type of workout and want to do it, but then do it for yourself and be like, I don't really like this. But honestly, I like it. I think it is a really good balance between being hard, not too hard. And I love having those set classes, because if I'm ever off my routine on Tuesdays and Thursdays and sleep in a little bit, I will be up and out of the bed by 8:15, which means I will at least start my day by 9:05. That's really good for me, because sometimes the endurance can get really hard waking up every single day super early when you're studying late. So I'm really enjoying having kind of like the accountability that it holds for my morning routine. Only thing I don't love about Pilates is that you don't burn a lot of calories, even though I literally like feel it. Like I can feel sore the next day from Pilates, which is great, but there's nothing like closing your rings and feeling like, yes, I did that, like I'm burning these calories. Like you really just have to remind yourself that your body keeps the score, and what you are doing for your body, even though it's low impact, it's still good for your body. Also, another fun update is that, y'all, I'm really liking Grey's Anatomy. Like, I'm really getting into it now, okay? I finished season 1. The finale was tea. That's when we really started getting into things, okay? Spoilers, but I like the balance between the 3 women. Like, you know, Meredith, she's not my favorite. I talked about her in the group chat. By the way, if you guys are not a part of the Beauty and Brains community group chat on Instagram, definitely join it. I love kicking with y'all over there. It's a really good time. And I tell you guys all of my thoughts about Grey's Anatomy as I'm watching it. And I was like, is Meredith really gonna be the main character this whole time? Because she's not really giving main character vibes. And yeah, I still don't love her, but when Dr. Shepard, the OBGYN came, I was so I don't know, maybe I'm messy, but I live for it. I'm so happy. I'm like, I actually want for him to stay with his wife. Not even just because like I don't like Meredith, but just like for marriage sake. I feel like it would be, you know, be good for the plot. Like, I am excited. I like her. She's feisty, little redhead. I'm like, period. And I'm like, oh wait, what's the doctor's name who's also the blonde? Did the modeling? She's like my favorite. I really like her. I really like her. But I'm like, is she about to poach her to become an OBGYN? That's gonna be interesting. Okay. And then George is now doing open heart surgery. I'm like, oh my gosh. And then when Yang had I literally, mind y'all know I'm gonna be an OBGYN, and I worked at the doctor's office for some years. So on the board, when I saw helping oophorectomy, I said, no, they did not take her tubes. They took her tubes, y'all. Well, they took one of her tubes. So she got 1 tube, ectopic pregnancy. He didn't know about it, and he found out about it. He came to the room when her mom was there, and he cuddled her. I said, this is good TV. This is good TV. So I'm really excited to see what season 2 is gonna hold. Season 2.
A clean, sterile room where the procedure is simple.
So immediate thoughts, I like how season 2 is starting right after season 1, like moments later, you know. Get out of my way. We're not missing anything, because season 1 ended off on a bang, and it was very much so cliffhanger. So I'm glad they weren't like 6 months later, because I was also worried and confused about how like maybe 1 season was per year of their residency, and I was like, this doesn't feel like it's been a full year. It's still definitely been a couple of months. So I'm glad to see that we're still in the beginning, at least for now. I'm 3 minutes in. At least for now, we're still in the first year of our residency program, and the tea is just getting hot. Because I remember being like, okay, she's holding on to this pregnancy for a really long time. Like, when is she gonna get a DNC? Like, I did not expect for it to end that way. And so I'm really liking it. And also, at first, I didn't really think that I liked Dr. Bailey, but Dr. Bailey is also one of my favorites, because what patient was it where she really liked him and he ended up dying, and like she was so sad, and I was like, yeah, she has a heart. I like how she had a husband, and like, you don't even know nothing about my business. I like Dr. Bailey. So yeah, so far so good. Again, if you guys want to hear more of my thoughts when it comes to Grey's Anatomy, join the group chat. And if you haven't started, please watch it with me, because honestly, it is very inspiring when I'm having hard days. And at the end of my day, I watch Grey's Anatomy. I'm kind of like reminded, this is what I'm doing this for. Just to do a quick little Brelynn's book talk, because this is kind of like the vlog for the week. I feel like Onyx Storm is possibly the best book in the Empyrean series so far. Like, it's really good. Honestly, I have like 1 more hour left. I think it's like 3 or 4 more chapters. If you guys want to see my reaction to the end of the book, definitely, again, follow me over on Instagram at Brelynn.hunt, because it will be over there. But so far, I really enjoyed it. I think it's really good. Now I can't wait to dive deep into all of the videos talking about the theories and the lore. You guys know my favorite podcast, the Fantasy Fangirls, and they're going to break down every single chapter. And I really don't have time to read this book all over again. I do want to get back to ACOTAR, so I'll just watch my podcast, my YouTube videos to kind of help me stay in the world. But so far, I feel like it was definitely worth the wait, and it was a really good book. If you guys want to see my rating for it, it'll be on Instagram. Also, you guys know I've been listening to nonfiction audiobooks while working out. I honestly kind of slowed down this past week, because I'm currently listening to Viola Davis's memoir, Finding Me, and my current book review is that, dang, her life story is sad and it's tragic, and my mood has been, you know, pretty low the past couple of weeks. And I will say, when I listen to her story, it really humbles me. It's like, you ain't got nothing to complain about. I did not, like, it's really humbling to hear her story about what it really is like to be poor, be abused, to be lonely, to be oppressed, to be like all these things, and I'm like, you think you got it bad? I'm still at kind of like her childhood area of life, so I can't wait to continue reading and to see how she got to where she is now, because Viola Davis is one of my favorites. Really admire and respect her, and so to know that this is the type of background that she came from, it's not too sad to read, but it is sad. I'm like, dang, you really had a hard life. But I'm excited to get inspired by hearing how she overcame the rough beginning. Last thing for Brelynn's book talk, since it is February, I thought about maybe reading a romance book. I have some things on my TBR, but honestly, I'm just like over love right now. I feel like I've just been over consuming love. Like, I feel like all of the pastors that I kind of watch online, other than my own pastor at my own church, thank God, but everybody's kind of doing like a relationship series, and like I feel like I just feel like I'm over consumed with love, and I don't really want to read a romance book. And so after I finish Onyx Storm, I'm gonna go, like I mentioned, back to my ACOTAR book, the third book in the series of Court of Wings and Ruin, and that's technically a romantasy, a romance and a fantasy, so it'll still give me a little bit of love, but I'm not really in the mood to read a romance book this February. I want to give a big shout out to the CommuniTEA. Like I mentioned, I've had a pretty rough week from the beginning of the week to the end of the week. Like, and you guys are just so supportive. You're so uplifting. You're so encouraging. You really keep me going on the days where I don't have enough gas in the engine to keep myself going. And so I just want to thank you all for being there for me during this journey, because it really isn't easy. Thank y'all for being there for me. I really appreciate y'all. Okay, last quick thing that we can mention are kind of like the weekly wish list wins. If you don't know, that is my MCAT studying reward jar for consistently committing to studying, sweating, and eating for success. The whole idea is small wins, big rewards. I definitely have been consistent. I realized the other day that I have not eaten fast food all of 2025, which is a really big deal for me because Uber Eats knows my address by heart, okay? But I feel like I haven't really been doing a good job with my weekly wish list wins. I feel like I haven't actually bought anything that I've pulled from my list, but I'm also still treating myself to kind of like one thing that I want a week. Oh, I put the degrees up by my desk, which is really nice. I feel like reminds myself that if he's done it before, he can do it again. I literally have gotten into school before, he can do it again. And I've literally done this before. Like, I can do this. Like, I don't know, my degrees just remind me I am exactly who I think I am. Okay, beauty and braids, period. I find up the curtain rods and the curtains in the living room. I feel like my living room is definitely giving beige, like it's very, very bland. So I have to find a way to add some color to it. And it looks even more beige because I finally end up putting up those white hand-painted texture paintings that I got from TJ Maxx. Remember that time I told you guys I bought all this stuff from TJ Maxx? Yeah, that was a part of it. But also in that hall, bedside table is really cute. A rug to go in that area, but between that and a couple new pillows that I got for my bedroom, I really feel like my bedroom is coming together. Also, you guys, I fell in love with this artist called Smart, and I ended up buying some artwork from them. I'm waiting for 2 more of the pieces to come in, that way I can place them in the hallway here. I ended up buying them in 2 separate orders because the first order that I bought, I didn't realize how small those frames would be. So I ended up putting them on the doors in my kitchen. I feel like it just added a little bit of color. Let me know if you guys like them there, but I really can't wait to fill those 3 frames and put them up in the hallway over here. Okay, now that we're done with the apartment updates, back to the weekly wish list wins. Instead of a protein powder, I ended up buying a really cute sweatsuit that I had my eyes on. Y'all know I'm in sweatsets like every single day, basically now during my studying period. And so when I saw this online, I did an impulsive buy, which I'm really trying to stop. Since I bought this, I didn't take anything from the rewards jar last week. It's also very much so giving Valentine's Day, so I guess this is a Valentine's Day gift to myself. It's called Comfort. This is their minimalist hoodie in the color crimson. I got the top in a size medium. Be the energy you want to attract. I love that. I don't have any red sweat sets. I honestly don't wear red a lot. Okay. This is definitely a good thick material. It has a hood. It's like lined. It definitely feels heavy and weighty and big. It says Comfort here, embroidered, fleece lined on the inside. Okay, the quality is very nice. This is a very expensive sweat set, so the quality is there. Let's see for the pants. Your best day starts with your best mindset. I love that. I love that. The bottom's in a size medium. I don't know why I thought I got a size large. The question is, are these going to be long enough? Ooh, okay, they don't look too bad. Let's see. Honestly, these may be long enough. Ah! These also have the embroidered detail here. And then of course they have pockets. Very expensive sweat set, but I felt like it was a good investment to make. Too, I thought it would be a really good exam day outfit, or at least one for like practice exams or something that I can just wear when I'm studying. It's perfect for the month of February, and it was on sale. Consider this last week's wish list win. And then actually last week I didn't end up pulling from the jar, but I ended up buying these really cute hats. This is such a random purchase for me because it's not even like this is something that I was looking for, but then when I just saw it, I was like, yes. Like, yes, I want that, I need that. And you know what my problem is with consumerism right now? It's this like limited edition, or things are gonna sell out quickly. Like a lot of stores like Telfar, or like even the Comfort sweatsuit that I just got, or like Fabletics, like a lot of times I end up buying things right then because I understand that if I don't buy it then, I may never be able to buy it again in the future. And it's like, well, if I want it and I know that I want it, or if I think that I want it, I might as well buy it now, because if I don't and it sells out, I'll regret it later. And I feel like the companies are doing this on purpose, purposefully don't have enough of the items in stock, even if it's their like most popular item, just so that when it does come in stock, you say like, oh, it's in stock, da, da, da. So if you catch it in stock and it has a discount or some type of sale on it, you just feel like I have to buy it. And I don't want to feel like I have to buy anything. I saw it as a TikTok ad, but it wasn't on TikTok shop. So I clicked the link, and then it also gave me a discount code. So this is an order from Culture Kings. I should have opened this up before I did my hair because I'm not gonna be able to try them on, but y'all, look how cute! Valentine's Day limited edition type of hats. The reason why I really like this hat, obviously, is because it's in pink. I thought this was so cute. I gifted somebody some snapbacks for Christmas, and I was like, honestly, I need to buy some myself just for my casual days. I feel like it will just take my outfits to the next level. I feel like I'm missing out on the fact that hats are literally a cheat code. Your hair doesn't have to be done, and it's a cute accessory. I believe this is the Boston socks. But it's in this pink color wave, and it also has hearts. And if you know anything about me, I love hearts. Fun fact, when I was in like all throughout school, when you actually have to like write on papers, I would write a heart in the corner of all of my papers. I really, really, really love hearts. I have a variety of different like teams or states or whatever. I just got the Boston socks because I thought that the B in the pink would be really, really cute. So whenever I'm wearing a pink outfit, or even an all black outfit, or even an all white outfit, you know, whatever it is, like you just put on the hat and you don't have to worry about your hair, and it's just a cute little, I don't know, I just thought it was really cute. It's kind of like not on brand, but it also is on brand. Do you get what I'm saying? Okay, this is the second hat that I got. Cute, cute. This one isn't part of the collection. I think this is just like regular one that they sell. I actually used to have a Beauty and Brains hat that was this color, and I used to wear it all the time. And one time my cousin came and he needed a hat, and he wore it, and he literally stole it and he broke it. And honestly, I could go and buy one off of beautyandbrainsapparel.com. I keep saying that I'm going to, because the website is up, by the way. If you ever want some merch, beautyandbrainsapparel.com. Check it out. But anyway, when I saw this one, I was like, oh, you know what? I know that I will wear this neutral color wave a lot because I am missing that hat in my collection. And the last one that I got, y'all already know me. I'm in love with this color. And then I thought this with the brown, like the chocolate brown, is so cute. I just thought this was so cute. I got both of these in New York because I'm an East Coast girly. So I just figured, you know, this over the LA one. I just thought this was so cute. I do think this is limited edition, but this colorway in the dark maroon and the brown, it is so cute. All three of these together weren't that expensive. $70 because I did have a discount code, and these are limited edition. But anyway, this is what I bought last week for my weekly wish list win. And so with that, let's end off this video with this week's poll and see if I actually end up buying something from it. If not, honestly, it's a cute idea. Okay, oops, okay, looks like this is the one. Let's see. Let's see. I have been so disciplined this week, mainly because I didn't want to so many days, but I'm still showing up, and for that I'm proud of myself. So I can buy myself a new waist trainer. Honestly, this is good because body isn't looking the way that I want it to look. I'm like, you know what, time to take matters into our own hands. So yes, I will be purchasing this waist trainer. Those are all of my updates for now. Overall, keep praying for me. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, that way you don't miss a notification from me, and follow me on my social media at Brelynn.hunt. With that being said, make sure you live each day to the fullest because you only live once, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.